Welcome to Drive Electric Tennessee's Local Government Action Plan video on promoting electric vehicle awareness in your community. As excited as we are about economic, environmental, and community benefits that come with EV adoption, leaders in this space still need to contend with the fact that most of their constituents have never ridden in or driven an EV. This lack of exposure to new transportation technologies can inspire confusion and even distrust in people for EVs and their associated charging infrastructure. It is up to each of us to increase awareness for our local communities and to demystify EV technologies for all. Again, promoting EV awareness is critical to generating user interest in your communities and ultimately greater EV adoption. This chapter will focus on pathways for local governments to conduct EV education and outreach.
DET's mission is to increase EV adoption in Tennessee, particularly through promoting EV infrastructure availability, fostering the creation and adoption of EV-supported programs and policies, and enhancing EV awareness amongst all Tennesseans. Local governments play an enormous role in each of these areas, and DET is proud to have the assistance of several city and county governments who actively participate in our working groups and design EV-supported projects across the state. If your local government is interested in becoming a contributing member to DET's EV vision in Tennessee, please contact info@driveelectrictn.org. By adopting DET's mission and actively participating in our working groups, local governments will gain access to the resources, contacts, and support they need to target widespread EV adoption. Beyond membership in DET proper, local governments also have the opportunity to coordinate EV awareness initiatives specific to their own jurisdictions. To help with this, DET is now developing local or regional chapters composed of local partners who wish to expand the use of EVs in their area. After all, no one can understand the outreach and education needs of area citizens and businesses like the people from those communities. So what are the responsibilities of a DET chapter? Well, that depends very much on the needs of your community. At a minimum, however, a DET chapter should feature programming that promotes EV awareness for its jurisdiction. Awareness content should focus both on mitigating the confusion and misinformation often surrounding EVs, while simultaneously communicating to drivers the benefits of electrification, both personally and societally. The first step towards creating a DET chapter for your area involves setting up a leadership team and identifying chapter members. In addition to local government representatives, DET chapters are usually composed of local EV owners, utility companies, car dealerships, other nearby businesses, and educational institutions. Once you've gathered a team of EV enthusiasts, DET chapters need to identify the engagement avenues that best work for your community. This could include, but isn't limited to, increasing EV awareness and DET chapter visibility by hosting EV events during National Drive Electric Week and Drive Electric Earth Day. For more information on those national celebrations, visit driveelectricweek.org and driveelectricearthday.org. Updating local leaders and citizens on EV news and opportunities through newsletters, social media, and other communications channels. Participating in activities related to the electrification of local fleets or the establishment of EV charging infrastructure. One effective tool for DET chapters in education and outreach is the EV ride and drive model, where potential adopters can get in the driver's seat of these vehicles and directly ask owners questions about EV operation, associated charging infrastructure, and the lifestyle changes associated with going electric. Better yet, ride and drives allow potential adopters to experience firsthand the instant acceleration and quiet cabin of an electric driving experience.
These direct, low-pressure opportunities to explore the vehicles can really influence a person's willingness to adopt an EV in the future. For example, pre-drive and post-drive data from the February 2020 EV Ride and Drive event at the Knoxville Auto Show demonstrates this fact quite well. The number of participants selecting very likely when asked if they would consider an EV as their next vehicle jumped from 30% before the drive to 59% after. Amazing. Want to plan an EV ride and drive for your community? Reach out to DET for assistance. Several of our members, particularly the Middle West Tennessee and East Tennessee Clean Fuels coalitions, have experience hosting these types of events across the state. Those same members also helped pull together DET's EV Ride and Drive event guide, which you can check out for more information and quick tips on ride and drive event planning. Visit tncleanfuels.org for more technical event planning assistance from Tennessee's Clean Fuel coalitions. So far, DET's current chapters include the Appalachian Highlands, Upper Cumberland, and the greater Knoxville regions. We are always looking for volunteers to either join established groups or lead the development of new chapters across the state, and local governments play a big part in this process. Most of these chapters are still in the formative stages of development, such as still drumming up founding partners, outlining community needs and goals, etc. However, DET has a goal to fully establish at least 6 chapters by the end of 2022, which would hopefully include Greater Nashville, Chattanooga, and the Memphis regions, in addition to those mentioned above. Even if you fall outside of these geographic areas, reach out to DET to see what can be done for your community.
So what if a DET chapter isn't right for your area at this time? Well, local governments interested in promoting local EV adoption should still prioritize making strong community partnerships. Let's go over the types of EV partners that may be valuable EV advocates in your community. Local power companies represent the electric utility side of the EV conversation. Many of these partners have the ability and interest to support EV charging infrastructure projects in your area. This can take shape as EV charging infrastructure rebates for residential charging, like those provided by the Knoxville Utilities Board, or through direct utility ownership of publicly accessible EV charging infrastructure at popular destinations. Again, greater EV adoption means greater electricity consumption, which is good for your utility partners. Several utilities are leading by example through the adoption of EVs in their fleet too, and can be important voices during the outreach events we described earlier. They have direct communications channels with potential EV buyers, current EV owners, home developers, and more. Don't wait to reach out to your local utility representative and collaborate with them on EV opportunities in your area.
Guess who else has business interest in higher EV adoption? That's right, it's car dealerships. Car dealers have an important role in closing knowledge gaps related to EVs, as they are often the last voice heard before vehicle purchase occurs. Make sure your area has excited, educated personnel when it comes to EV sales. It is critical to instilling potential EV drivers with confidence about the new technologies. Car dealers should understand the driving experience, charging infrastructure, and maintenance needs of an EV. Most importantly, they should demonstrate a willingness to keep their EV models in stock and visible on their lots to make sure the EV purchase is always possible for your community. A DET dealership engagement course is coming to Tennessee soon to help in this critical awareness space. In the meantime, local governments should engage with local car dealers on opportunities to promote EV adoption for the community and identify pathways for partnership to meet these goals. Are you near a major EV battery or charging station manufacturer? Like the utility and dealership examples we previously discussed, these industry entities stand to benefit from increased EV adoption in your area. Be sure to rope them into EV advocacy conversations for your community, particularly as it pertains to making sure vehicles are available in Tennessee for dealership sales and EV ride and drive events you may plan. Keep in mind too that EVs come in all shapes and sizes and applications, so don't be afraid of pursuing partnerships with EV, battery, and charging station businesses within medium and heavy duty spaces. Aren't sure if there are EV-related manufacturers in your area? Reach out to the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development for assistance. Your local Chamber of Commerce may also be able to provide insight on business opportunities for your community in the EV space.
Have a big fleet of vehicles operating down the road from City Hall? Check in with the fleet contacts in your area and see whether they've contemplated EVs as gasoline and diesel alternatives for their fleet. After all, many people don't know the benefits and costs of an EV compared to a traditional vehicle, and some people aren't aware of EVs at all. Greater awareness is important for both individual consumers as well as fleet owners. Remember that fleets comprise a large number of highly visible vehicles in your community. Why not try to make them electric? Visit tncleanfuels.org for more fleet outreach technical assistance from Tennessee's Clean Fuels Coalitions. Universities may also prioritize electric transportation for their audience. For example, these schools may collaborate on EV manufacturing workforce development programs or other professional development opportunities tied to EV equipment servicing, particularly if in partnership with local EV manufacturers, several of which call Tennessee home. Larger universities might also operate buses or other transit and fleet services for their campus. They can be an excellent proving ground for electrification of both medium or heavy-duty buses, as well as smaller off-road electric equipment for campus patrol and security.
Local nonprofit organizations or other advocacy groups may also share similar interests in electric transportation and sustainability. These entities may be interested in delivering technical assistance or community engagement for a variety of topics, including workplace charging, EV opportunities for low-income households, electrification of fleets for public good, and other considerations in the EV space. We already mentioned the Tennessee Clean Fuels Coalitions today, but be sure to search for local chapters where available from organizations like the American Lung Association, Sierra Club, the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, and the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, it is critical for local leaders to identify partnerships with actual EV owners in your area. There are several EV clubs across the state that actively engage with public on EV awareness campaigns, particularly when it comes to hosting EV ride and drives and other technology demonstration events. They can provide their own perspectives when it comes to the hurdles they've encountered in EV adoption, as well as lend valuable feedback to any program or policy designs that local government leadership may be pondering. Don't know if there's any EV owners clubs in your area? Reach out to Drive Electric Tennessee for assistance in identifying these partnerships.
From participating in DET working groups to joining DET chapters, from hosting EV ride and drives to partnering with local EV advocates, there are many ways for local governments to engage in EV awareness for their communities. But there's one first step that everyone can take to kick off your focus on transportation electrification. Make your support of EVs widely known. Do you have a highly trafficked website or social media page for public reference? Make sure those pages reflect your mission to increase EV adoption in your area. Fill those pages with resources that community members can use to learn more about EVs and charging infrastructure. If you need help on that front, DET's got you covered. Visit driveelectrictn.org to reference our mission and suite of EV tools and resources. Crafting a strong EV mission statement, which is readily accessible online, shows the commitment of your organization toward EV adoption. This can attract curious or supportive community members to your cause and maybe even make your area more appealing from a business investment perspective for other industry folks interested in participating in the EV, battery, and charging station supply chain. As we close today's chapter of the Local Government Action Plan video series, we at DET want to thank you again for your interest in EVs. When it comes to promoting EV awareness in your community, we're always available to help. Cheers, EV drivers.